Imagine you fall asleep tonight and wake up exactly 1 year later. Same bank balance, same number sitting in your account. Not a single rupee or dollar missing. On paper, you didn't lose anything. But here's the strange part. You're poorer. Not because someone stole your money, not because you spent it, but because while you were sleeping, the money itself quietly became weaker. Sounds confusing, right? How can the same amount of money be worth less? You didn't touch it, nobody touched it, and yet somehow it buys you less than it used to. This is exactly what's happening to almost everyone right now in 2026, and most people don't even notice it until they're standing in a grocery store wondering why the same basket of items costs so much more than it did a few years ago. So today, let's break down why your money is losing value, why your brain is wired to miss this completely, and what you can actually do about it. Most people think about money in a very simple way. They think, if I save my money, it stays safe. Money in the bank feels solid, fixed, like a brick sitting in a vault, untouched by time. This feeling is comforting. It's why so many people are happy parking their savings in a regular bank account for years, doing nothing with it. It feels responsible. It feels safe. But this comfort is actually a trap, because money doesn't sit still. Even when it looks like it's standing still, the world around it keeps moving, and that's the part our brains struggle to see. Here's a simple way to picture it. Imagine you're standing on an escalator that's moving downward, but you're standing perfectly still on one step. From your point of view, nothing seems to be happening. You're not falling, you're not moving your legs. You feel stationary. But to anyone watching from outside, you're clearly going down. That's what's happening to your savings every single year. You feel like you're standing still, but the ground underneath you, the cost of everything around you, is rising. So even though your number stays the same, your position keeps slipping. This invisible slipping has a name: inflation. And while you've probably heard that word 1,000 times, very few people actually understand what it's doing to their life, their decisions, and their future. Let's make this simple, using something everyone understands: food. Imagine 10 years ago, a simple breakfast, let's say 2 eggs, a cup of tea, and a slice of bread, cost you a certain amount. Today, that same exact breakfast costs noticeably more. The eggs didn't get fancier, the tea isn't more special, nothing about the food changed. What changed is the value of the money you're using to buy it. Here's the part that trips people up. Prices going up isn't really the root cause. Prices going up is the symptom. The real cause is that money itself is losing buying power. Think of money like a coupon that says, this piece of paper can be exchanged for a certain amount of value. Now imagine that more and more of these coupons get printed every single year. Governments print currency. Banks expand credit. More money enters the economy to keep things running, support growth, fund spending. But here's the catch. The actual amount of stuff in the world, the food, the oil, the raw materials, the houses, doesn't grow at the same fast pace as the money supply does. So you end up with more coupons chasing the same number of goods. And when there are more coupons than goods, each coupon becomes less valuable. That's inflation in its simplest form. Not some mysterious force, just basic supply and demand applied to money itself. In 2026, this effect has become more visible than ever because of years of expanding money supply, rising costs of essentials like housing, energy, and food, and global economic pressures piling on top of each other. The result is simple. Every unit of currency you're holding buys a smaller slice of the world than it did before. Now, here's where psychology comes in, and this is the part that really explains why so many people get blindsided by this. Humans are wired to notice sudden change, not slow change. If someone snatched 10% of your salary out of your hand right now, you'd feel outraged. You'd notice instantly. You'd fight back. But if that same 10% gets quietly eaten away over 12 months through rising prices, you barely notice it at all. Your brain isn't built to detect slow leaks. It's built to detect sudden threats. This is sometimes called normalcy bias, the tendency to assume that because things have always felt fine, they'll continue to feel fine, even when the underlying numbers say otherwise. People look at their bank balance, see a comfortable number, and feel a sense of safety. They don't feel the slow erosion happening underneath, because nothing dramatic is occurring in front of their eyes. It's the same reason people don't notice their fitness slowly declining if they stop exercising gradually versus suddenly getting injured. Slow change feels invisible. Sudden change feels real. This is exactly why so many people keep large amounts of cash sitting idle in savings accounts for years. It feels safe. It feels stable. But in reality, that cash is silently shrinking in value every single year, just slowly enough that nobody panics about it.
Here's the deeper idea that most people miss. We're taught from childhood that saving money is the responsible thing to do. And saving is important, don't get this twisted. But there's a difference between saving money and just letting it sit there, doing nothing. Picture an ice cube sitting on a kitchen counter. It looks solid right now. It looks like it's not changing. But the room is warm, and that warmth is working on it constantly, even though you can't see it happening in real time. Come back in a few hours, and the ice cube has shrunk. Come back the next day, and it's a puddle. Cash sitting in a regular account behaves exactly like that ice cube. The economy is the warm room. Inflation is the heat, and your money is slowly melting, even while it looks untouched.
This is why simply saving isn't enough anymore in 2026. The real skill isn't just accumulating money, it's protecting the value of that money over time, and ideally, growing it faster than it's melting. This is exactly why people who understand money psychology don't just save. They look for ways to put their money into things that historically grow in value over time. Things like index funds, real estate, businesses, or other assets that tend to rise in value as the economy expands, rather than letting cash sit completely still while prices around it keep climbing. The goal isn't to chase huge risky bets. The goal is simple. Make sure your money is doing something, instead of slowly melting in a corner where nobody's watching. If you're young right now, this concept matters even more than for someone closer to retirement, and here's why. You have decades ahead of you. Decades of inflation slowly chipping away at any cash you leave sitting still. If you let that happen for 30 or 40 years without doing anything about it, the effect compounds in the wrong direction. Your money buys less and less over your lifetime, even if the number on your screen keeps looking fine. But the flip side is incredibly powerful too. If you start understanding this early and you put your money to work in assets that grow over time, you get the benefit of decades of compounding working for you instead of against you. This is the real difference between people who feel like they're doing everything right but still feel stuck financially and people who actually build wealth over time. It's rarely about earning a massive salary. It's about understanding where to place your money so it doesn't quietly lose value year after year while you're not looking. So what does this mean practically? First, stop assuming that a comfortable bank balance means you're financially safe. The number matters less than what that number can actually buy. Second, build an emergency fund for short-term safety. That part is still important because you need accessible cash for emergencies. But beyond that emergency cushion, don't let large amounts of money sit completely idle for years. Third, start learning about simple ways to grow your money over time. You don't need to become a stock market expert overnight. Even basic, low-cost, long-term investing options can help your money grow at a pace that keeps up with or beats inflation instead of slowly losing to it. And finally, change how you think about money. Stop picturing it as something solid and unchanging. Start picturing it as something that needs to be kept moving, kept working, kept growing, almost like a plant that needs sunlight, rather than a rock that just needs to be stored. Here's the uncomfortable truth hiding behind everything we just talked about. Money doesn't lose value because you did something wrong. It loses value simply because you did nothing at all. Time itself becomes the silent thief, working quietly in the background, year after year, while life feels completely normal on the surface. The people who build real wealth aren't necessarily the ones who earn the most. They're the ones who understood early that standing still with money means slowly falling behind, even when it doesn't feel that way. So the next time you look at your bank balance and feel that sense of comfort, ask yourself one simple question. Is this money actually staying the same, or is it quietly melting while I'm not paying attention? Because in 2026, understanding that single idea might be the difference between feeling financially stuck for years and finally starting to move forward.